Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Uninvited Brother 32 who says, "Am I the arsehole for uninviting my adoptive brothers from my wedding after they said they don't see me as family? I'm a 32-year-old man and I'm getting married to my longtime girlfriend soon. What should be one of the happiest moments of my life has turned into a heartbreaking ordeal because of a deepening rift in my family. To give you some background, I'm my parents' biological son, and when I was 12 they adopted two boys who were biological siblings, Jack, who was 8, and Liam, who was 5. From the very beginning it was clear that things were going to be tough. Jack came with severe behavioral issues due to some intense trauma. I'll spare the details, but it was significant. I tried my hardest to be understanding, but living with him was nothing short of exhausting. His outbursts were constant, and I often felt like I was walking on eggshells, terrified of setting him off. As we grew older, I continued to try to be there for Jack, despite everything. A few years ago, Jack fell into a devastating drug addiction. I stood by him throughout his darkest moments, supporting him through rehab and doing everything I could help him get back on his feet. It was draining and heartbreaking, but I did it because I loved him and believed that despite our challenges, we were still brothers. The situation came to a head recently at a Sunday dinner at my parents' house. My son was working on his summer homework, which involved creating a family tree. He innocently asked Jack if he wanted to be included, and Jack just flat out said no. He didn't want to be a part of it because, in his exact words, "We are not real brothers." He said it so casually, like it was the most obvious thing in the world, with no regard for how much it would cut me to the core. I was utterly stunned, but what shattered me even more was that Liam, who I've always felt closer to, just sat there in silence. He didn't say a word, he didn't defend me or even acknowledge how hurtful Jack's words were. He just let it happen. I've tried so hard to be supportive of both of them, especially Jack, despite the endless challenges. So for Jack to say that and Liam for do nothing felt like a gut punch. It was as if they were both telling me that I was never truly part of their family. I decided to uninvite both Jack and Liam from my wedding. My fiance has been nothing but supportive of my decision, but my parents are furious. They've made it clear that if Jack and Liam aren't invited, they won't attend either. It feels like history is repeating itself, with my parents once again prioritizing Jack over me, no matter how much it hurts me. I'm absolutely heartbroken that my parents would choose to miss my wedding rather than support me in this. I know Jack has been through a lot, but I've done everything I can to be there for him and for Liam despite all the heartache. And now I feel like I'm the one being punished for finally standing up for myself and setting some boundaries. Am I the arsehole for uninviting my brothers after they said they don't see me as family, even if it means my parents won't come to my wedding? So on the back of this, someone asked the OP saying, "Why was your kid even asking him in the first place? That could have hurt them too. As a child, it would have never occurred to me to not include my aunts and uncles in a family tree. What did you say in front of your child to plant the idea that he needed to ask them? And did you correct your kid and say that of course his uncle should be on his family tree? You're also to blame in how this rift started because whether intentional or not, you also did not correct the idea that you aren't real brothers/family, and it was your child that asked the question. Usually people feel uncomfortable correcting other people's children in awkward situations like this. It falls on the parents to talk to their child and get to the root of things." OP says because he's 5 and just wanted to show off what he was doing. "I've never said anything to plant an idea that they aren't my brothers. He doesn't even know that they're adopted. Not because it's something we hide, just hasn't ever been something we really discuss as a family. Add uncles and aunties to the family tree was an optional extension, and he said it in a way of, come and help me add you if you want to be, not you don't deserve to be in the tree. You're honestly clasping at straws here. I have no issue with someone labeling me the arsehole, but don't just make up context to decide it." I mean, it feels like there's more to this from the Jack side of things. He's clearly been through a lot of trauma, like OP said, but it doesn't excuse negative behavior towards the OP. What I would say though is maybe talk to Liam about what happened. He was probably in a really awkward position, and yes, people will say of course he should have spoke out, etc. In an ideal world, absolutely, but this isn't ideal. And I would maybe talk to Liam about how you felt in that moment and see what he says, because I don't think he would have done this to you intentionally, but I've been wrong many times before. Hope he also adds another couple of comments in. I don't blame them or him for his drug addiction. Jack and Liam had truly horrible things happen to them both as children. Stuff I won't get into here, but you can understand it was the type of stuff that leaves lifelong scars on you, even with a buttload of therapy they've gone through. One time Jack spoke to me about when he's high on drugs as the only time in his entire life where he doesn't constantly remember, and only time he ever feels at peace. Obviously I shouldn't be the one who is constantly picking up the pieces of him, but I can 100% understand why he got into drugs. He's still an arsehole though. Hope he also adds, the family tree in Jack's comment was the only catalyst for the argument that happened. And yes, there would have been no issues with Jack being included in the family tree. Snowy Bird says, not the arsehole. Liam and Jack have been in your family for 20 years. If you all aren't family by now, what the fuck are you? I have a major issue with your parents. They're definitely the arseholes in all of this. The minute Jack said to your son, they should have spoken up and defended you. The fact that they let him get away with it and are now saying they won't attend your wedding is bullshit. I would tell them not to bother coming to your wedding and that you hope they'll be happy with their 2 sons. And I would take my son and go full no contact with them. OP says, honestly, I've considered going no contact with them in the past, but I've never had the guts to genuinely do it. I think my life would have been better off if I did it long ago. Its Design says, your wedding, your invitation list. Before you rescind the invitations, I would suggest you send your parents a text or email explaining all of your efforts and the hurt you feel over what your siblings have done. If your parents choose not to attend, then you know where their loyalty lies and you can cut all of them off without guilt, knowing that you tried. Go live your best life with your wife and the people that truly love you, not the arsehole. Bumbalari says, protect your son and future children from the toxicity you unfortunately have carried with you. You don't want your kids to experience the stress of tiptoeing around their own home, or the heartbreak of ignorant parenting. Be grateful for your supportive fiance and your son and continue to build your own healthy family. Do better than your parents. You will not miss them should you decide to move on to healthier pastures. The detailed letter expressing your feelings and experiences is a solid idea. If your parents choose to attend, it's a start. Don't let them ruin another day of your happiness. The OP came back into the post and says, I'm honestly still reeling from everything that's gone down since my last post. First off, thank you to everyone who took the time to comment. I've read through all your advice and it's been a lifeline. But buckle up because things have taken a wild turn. After hearing from so many of you, I decided I needed to talk to Liam. We met at a pub and I just laid it all out there. How hurt I was when he didn't say anything after Jack made that awful comment about not being real brothers. I was half expecting him to defend himself, but what I got was something entirely different. Liam confessed that he's been living in fear of Jack for years. He told me he kept quiet that night because he was terrified of setting Jack off, not because he agreed with him. Then he dropped a bombshell. Despite being Jack's biological brother, he's felt just as much of an outsider in our family as I have. The constant pressure from our parents to cater to Jack's every whim has worn him down too. Liam assured me that he's always seen me as his brother and that he regrets not standing up for me sooner. Hearing that was a huge relief. He's completely on my side now, and we agreed that if Jack can't respect me as a brother, he has no place at my wedding or in our lives. But just when I thought things couldn't get more intense, my parents decided to make everything worse. I sat them down and explained why I uninvited Jack, hoping they'd understand. Instead, they threw down an ultimatum. If Jack isn't invited, they're not coming to my wedding. No room for discussion, no empathy, just flat out refusal. I was gutted. After all these years of putting Jack's needs above mine, this is how they repay me. I couldn't hold back anymore. I let out all the anger and frustration I've been bottling up for years. I told them how I've always been the one sacrificing, how they've always prioritized Jack, and that I was done being treated like I don't matter. I made it clear that if they chose not to come to my wedding, They're making their choice, and I'll make mine. With that, I walked out, leaving them to stew in their own decisions. Out of nowhere, Jack started bombarding me with the nastiest, most hurtful text I've ever received. He accused me of turning Liam against him, of ripping the family apart, and had the audacity to call me selfish for abandoning him. He ranted how he never felt like he belonged in the family, and how it's all my fault for pushing him away. His words hit hard, but they also opened my eyes. Jack has spent his whole life blaming everyone else for his problems, and I've been his favourite scapegoat. This time though, I'm not letting him guilt trip me. I didn't even respond, I just blocked his number. If he can't see what he's done wrong, then there's nothing more to say. Liam was livid when I told him about Jack's messages. He's more determined than ever to support me, and we've decided to go low contact with our parents until after the wedding. Liam's been a rock through all of this, helping me with the wedding plans and making sure I'm not dealing with a mess alone. So the wedding is still happening, but with a much smaller guest list. My parents haven't reached out since our argument, and at this point I don't care if they show up or not. This day is about me and my fiancé, and I'm not letting anyone, not even my own family, ruin it. Thank you again for all your support and advice. I'll keep you posted if anything else happens. So I'm really hoping my next update is just about how amazing the wedding was. Fingers crossed. I'm so glad that Opie had that talk with Liam. As I was reading it, it did give me the thoughts that maybe, Liam is just a bit scared. Didn't want his brother to blow up in that moment, so that's why he just sat back and let that particular moment happen. Pick your battles kind of thing. But I think Opie's making absolutely the right decisions for themselves in this situation. And, the parents did have the choice and they made their own choice, and this is down to them. The only thing I could possibly add to that is maybe let people around you know of the current situation before parents potentially start talking shit behind your back, and then you're getting bombarded by all sorts that is your fault in some way. Them just twisting the narrative to their own, to suit them. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from the True Off My Chest subreddit from CFB Fan 18 and says, best friends and wife drop the ball, struggling with how to process all of it. Pretext, I completely understand that there are much greater tragedies out there than what I'm about to describe. Need to write this out and appreciate any feedback or strategies. Myself, my wife and friends from college, including best friend and his wife, have been doing a college football pick'em league for the last 12 years. It's for fun, but I'd say most everyone takes it somewhat seriously. Since we've had the league, different people won, but for 6 years in a row, one particular guy kept winning. Each year we have a big tailgate party at a game where the winner of the previous year is honoured with a speech and trophy. Last year we even arranged for a surprise cameo to be played at the tailgate for the guy who won his 6th in a row. I broke his streak last year and won the league, but I was also the person who typically got the trophy and arranged a cameo or some of the other cool things we've done. So yesterday was our big tailgate, and it was my chance at being recognised as the person who won the previous year. A few hours in, my wife had a few drinks in and said, I don't even know what we're doing this year for the person who won 6 years in a row. And I said, actually, I had won, and her whole face changed. Our friend standing next to her turned white as a ghost. First they laughed, then they said, no, wait, it was you. I realised that until that moment it hadn't occurred to them, or anyone, to do anything. There was no trophy, speech, anything. My best friend quickly gets told by my wife that they forgot to do something and says nothing. Can't make eye contact. Gets worse for me. After it sets in, I'm in the bathroom an hour later. I walk out and some people start clapping because my wife had awkwardly arranged for a crowd at the party to do something. It's worse because the guy who won 6 years in a row had been a recipient of some cool stuff is laughing hysterically that everyone forgot to do anything. I'm just sad. I don't really want to talk to my wife. She gave me a very short apology this morning and offered sex to cheer me up. Made it worse. Drove 6 hours home crying here and there, wondering how a group of people I love and care about would drop the ball. Sent a text out to some saying how shitty it was to be forgotten. Sucks. I'm sure tomorrow I'll be less sad. Oh man, that sucks. That's really heartbreaking for you. Like someone who's arranged to do this year on year, got all the gifts, arranged the speech, the cameo and all this sort of stuff. And then when it comes your turn, everyone's forgotten about it. You're just like the arranging type person. The person that brings everyone together, which makes this even more sad. But Moonglade Ladybug says, you're the planner. You're the one that keeps people together and makes sure no one or thing is forgotten. So when you don't do all the work, no one else does. It's really crap they forgot to celebrate your win. You deserved a hurrah and they let you down. Really sorry, OP. But congrats. Beck says, they did drop the ball and then handled it really inappropriately. Sincere apologies were needed ASAP and then making it up to you. I'd truly join another league just to take your mind off it and detach a little from that scene. Even if they don't do celebrations / you're the planner of the group, that still isn't cool. I hate football, but this got me worked up. Someone else says everyone likes to accept rewards and praise, but not everyone likes to return the favor. OP went out of their way to make sure whoever had won had a good time and felt special for 6 years, and got nothing in return when it was his time to shine. And to top it off, his wife is trying to downplay it and act like he's overreacting. Feels bad. Least they could do is apologize. Especially the motherfucker who laughed after OP is the one who made his win special in the first place. Yeah, that guy laughing hysterically, the image of that really pissed me off. Hairball says next time your wife is upset, offer her sex to cheer her up. Kazoo God says this isn't stupid at all. You're validated in feeling how you do, and it's shitty as fuck that your friends and wife didn't recognize how important this was to you. I totally get it. It isn't about fantasy football, it's the pretense of the entire situation. Honestly, if it were me, I would tell my friends via phone call or face to face, not text, and tell them how it made you feel underappreciated as a member of the friend group, as well as it hurting how they reacted after realizing you were the winner. Not because it was over a game of fantasy football, but because this is clearly something you put all the effort and emphasis in for multiple years, and there's no excuse for just brushing you off. But also tell your wife how it made you feel with offering sex. Sex isn't something to be rewarded or withheld, and that set off some alarm bells for me personally. You do deserve to be surrounded by people who appreciate you the same way you do for them. This isn't something to accept. It's important that you say something. I know it's uncomfy, but it's worth it. Sending you love, OP. OP responded to that one saying, thank you so much, really. I teared up that anyone felt sympathetic. I'm in my house and feel like I'm on an island by myself. OP gave an update and said, update, it's tomorrow after a night where I slept in the guest bedroom. Late last night I got an email apology from the girl who turned white when she found out. My wife woke up at 6 to get ready for work, and I was up helping the kids get ready for school. She wanted to talk and asked if I could talk also. I was half awake and didn't have any thoughts put together. The first thing she says is that I need to keep perspective. She said that it's not as if she cheated on me. She forgot something big, but there are much worse things that could have happened. I didn't respond. She asked how long she was going to be punished for this, and I just responded with saying it wasn't all about her. She's visibly frustrated, and I'm too afraid to say something that will ignite her. I feel like she's desperate for me to say anything. I realize she's not comforting me or trying to understand. She wants full resolution before we have to take the kids trick-or-treating tonight. That's it for now. She texts good morning, and I haven't responded. And there was a couple of comments after this. Sirocco Dream says, when the planner doesn't plan, shit doesn't get done. I'm sorry that your lame-ass friends didn't treat you well by remembering to celebrate your win. I'm even more sorry that none of them had the guts to come clean and apologize in front of the group for being such shitty friends. And finally to the guy that laughed, and who no one shut down when he was, please accept my 2-finger salute over the internet. Now that I've established that I'm firmly on your side, I ask you, what do you want to happen now? Think long and hard about what it is that you want. Yes, this whole fantasy football thing is shitty, but what sort of friends are these guys outside of this situation? Would you call them if you needed help moving, and would they come? If you suffered a real tragedy, would any of them be another shoulder to cry on? If your kids, or you were to have kids in the future, would you invite these people to be a part of your child's life? If these people are merely the college fantasy football bros, then maybe you need to consider letting them all go. You've devoted considerable time and effort and maybe money into making these events fun for them. But when the time came for them to return the favor, they didn't care enough to get the job done. I didn't blame them for not being more sincere in their apology on this, on the day this all went down. By your account, they were all caught flat-footed, and it's hard for most of us to admit our mistakes and apologize properly when we're still processing what an arsehole we've been. Have any of them reached out since? Only you can decide how much these people mean to you and whether you want them in your life going forward. If I were you, I'd write a huge screed about everything I'd done for the group over the past years, trying to make this event a yearly spectacular. I wouldn't cuss or throw around insults, but I would make it very clear to everyone that this event is so much fun every year because of my hard work. And I'd end it with how disappointed I was that none of them saw fit to return the favor when I was the winner. I would absolutely point out that the previous winner laughed and was a complete jerk, and that it was shitty of them to not shut that noise down. But I'm petty like that. Maybe you're not that petty. I'd fire this off in the group chat, or whatever you guys use to communicate, and see what happens. Maybe you get a ton of heartfelt apologies and they'll plan an extravaganza in your honor, and all will be well. Or maybe you'll get back a bunch of hate and you'll see their true colors. Either way, you'll have your answer as to what sort of friends they really are. Once you've sorted the friend situation, you'll need to sort things with your wife. I have a lot of questions for her, and I'd imagine you do too. Why didn't she organize something to celebrate your win for starters? The wife might be something that requires marriage counseling, but only you two can determine that. Opie says, I don't know. I don't want anything. As of this morning, I'm just wanting to not have this tension with my wife, but I'm kind of stuck on feeling let down, and she's supposed to be the person that doesn't do that. Mork says, is your wife as shitty as she seems here? Opie says, no. She's great and a wonderful partner, but one major part of her personality is that she hates any feeling of having done something wrong. It's like she becomes a different person. Fontaine Flake says, so bad sex and a weak apology is how she makes up for it. Judge Dredd replies and then getting upset at OP for feeling hurt and making it about himself. And that's it really, isn't it? I felt like she was so dismissive of OP's feelings in this that you need to keep perspective rather than, a decent apology. Then I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. It's not fucking difficult, which just makes me think that she's not sorry for what she's done. She doesn't really care, and just telling OP he should move on, totally invalidate his feelings. But what do you guys make of this situation? Opie said it's not really high stakes, and I get that, but within his bubble at that particular time, I think it is. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.